traveling for an international show or for like a festival, it can be so expensive. You've got your flights, your accommodation, your food. Like, what if you want to go and do touristy stuff, right? So I've come up with a few kind of tips and tricks that I use to help me make the most of my money when I am traveling. So hi gang, welcome to Dinah Dares to Plan. My name is Dinah Dare, and using the skills and knowledge I have from 9 years of project management, I combine them with the world of cabaret and burlesque, which I also do, to help give you some tips and tricks on how to plan. So today we're talking about how to make the most of your international travel, how to make it cheap, essentially. So for me, the first thing is flights. So I'm immediately on Skyscanner. I will find, I'm based in Glasgow, so I will look at flights from Glasgow and flights from Edinburgh. I will find the ones that sort of suit me in terms of time, and I will put them on like a watch list. Not that kind of watch list, which means that I will get updates when the price of that changes for any particular reason. So if the price goes up, the price goes down, I will get an alert for that. What I'll also do is I'll check the BA app and the KLM app because I have frequent flyer miles with both of them. So I will check to see what are their prices like. Again, what kind of options do they give in terms of time, about where I would be leaving from. Can I use any of my points to get them cheaper? And again, I'll maybe kind of add them to a sort of list within the app to kind of keep an eye on those to see if they will go anywhere or if a sale will maybe pop up. And I'll keep an eye on as the notifications come in via my emails, and I'll sort of, at a certain point, I'll maybe have a figure in my head, like, right, if they drop to this, then I'm just going to book them because that's a really good price. It might be that I've seen that they're going up and up and up, so I will hold off to see if they drop back down again. I personally like to book my flights between 4 and 6 weeks before the festival, just because I feel like that's the period that I get a pretty decent price, to be honest. So that tends to be when I book mine. Next thing you've got to look at is your accommodation. Do you do a hotel? Do you do Airbnb? Do you split with your friends? There's loads of options for you to think about. I always look at the hotel that is recommended or suggested by the festival, if it is a festival. Chances are they have a discount of some price, or you'll kind of, some festivals you can get one night, the night that you're performing is paid for in that hotel, so then you maybe want to stay the other nights in that hotel. I look at how far away it is from the venue because I don't want to be travelling a great distance at night, especially after I perform. I then look at the Airbnb options. I look at, is there anyone going to this festival that I know, especially if you have like a Facebook group or a WhatsApp group. I'll check, is there anyone else I know who I maybe want to sort of share accommodation with? Because if you get an Airbnb, that helps you split that cost. There's pros and cons to each. So I like an Airbnb because I like to have a kitchen. I like to be able to kind of cook my breakfast, have coffees. It helps me reduce the cost of food and drink because I've got those options there. Or if I go out for a meal and I take something home, I can put it in the fridge and then I can have it in the morning. It just kind of helps me reduce the costs. But the option with a hotel is chances are a lot of other performers are staying in the same hotel. It might actually be attached to the venue or extremely close to the venue. Chances are you're getting some sort of discounted price, although it is always worth looking at, even though the hotel is giving you a discounted price, can you get an Airbnb or another hotel cheaper? Because it may be that hotel is just more expensive in general, which I have found a few times. I have done both. I've done Airbnbs, I've done hotels. I love if you can get like an apartment hotel. Obviously with Airbnbs you do need to be careful, someone knows where you are. There's always safety concerns around both, to be honest. So it's just about working out what's best for you and what you feel most comfortable in as well. But that tends to be what I do there. And again, I'll look up options, I'll compare prices. On Booking I have one of the Genius levels, so I get discounts, so that helps sometimes in getting me to book via Booking rather than using Airbnb. that sort of ties in really nicely to food and drink. I try and minimise the amount that I spend on this, because this is probably where money goes during the weekend that you're there and you're not necessarily budgeted correctly for it. I've definitely been caught out. So if I can, I will, if I'm at an Airbnb or an apartment hotel, I will try and get stuff in for coffee. I will try and get like eggs in for breakfast, just so that I can make something, even if it's scrambled egg in a microwave. That just helps me reduce that cost. Quite a lot of the time, if you are performing at a festival, they will feed you the night of the show, so there will be food backstage. You can always sort of ask what will be on offer, so that you can think about what you need to do in terms of dinner. I have been to some festivals where they actually say, do you know what, even if you're not performing, you are welcome to help yourself to the food, because we understand it's expensive. So that's another way that you can reduce your cost, is by looking at what is on offer, what can you do there to reduce how much you're actually going out and spending. Obviously, if you want to go out and have big meals and you've got the budget for that, great. But if you're really trying to reduce your costs, this is probably an area that can really easily get out of hand, especially if you're drinking. I tend to not drink at festivals and shows until after I've performed. And then by that point, I'm usually having one, and then I'm leaving, because I'm like, I'm done. But think about how much you're spending there as well, because that can very easily escalate and become quite a lot of money, especially on alcohol. Transport is another one. So how are you getting from the airport to the hotel, if you're doing an airport? How are you getting from the hotel or the Airbnb to the venue and back? How are you getting around the city that you're in? I find that in European cities it's quite easy to use public transport or to walk. America, I depend heavily on Ubers and Lyfts. So before I go, I will kind of look up, right, if I'm going from here to here, how much roughly will that cost me if I put it at this time of day, sort of in States time or whatever country it is. It'll give me a rough idea of the cost if I try to schedule it using like the Uber app. So that'll let me start to budget, right, okay, roughly I'm looking at this. Again, it's great if you've got like a Facebook group or a WhatsApp, find out if anyone else is landing in the airport at the same time as you. Get a ride share. If there's someone that's been there before, maybe understands the public transport. If you don't, go with them, be like, cool, can you help me get there? Like, use what you have to hand to be able to make that as easy as possible as well. The final thing to always think about, and really I should have probably covered this with flights, luggage. If anyone has ever done a festival with me or seen me on the way to a festival, I love a carry-on. I am usually a carry-on suitcase, the small ones, and then like under the seat bag. The kind of ones that fit for Ryanair, and you can actually fit a lot in them if you try. The way that I pack for this is I basically plan out every single one of my outfits. It means that I have to look up what is the weather going to be like. I'll maybe have to, I wear my Doc Martens on the plane, and I'll put a pair of like little shoes in my bag so that if it's warm I can change into them, but I've got my Docs if it's raining. I plan my outfits. I'm like, right, I'll wear this that day, I'll wear that way, based on what the weather is telling me a couple of days before I fly out. It's really the only way I can fit everything, including my costume, into that little luggage. But it means that I don't have the fear of it getting lost, and it costs a lot less as well. So those are my top tricks. I hope that was super helpful. Please do like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what are your top tips for making life easier for travel, or for making life cheaper for travel. I'm always like so thrilled to learn about things like this. But there is always new content coming your way, so please do check out Behind the Rhinestones as well, and some of other episodes that we have here. Thanks, gang. Bye.